Hello, everybody. Sorry for the late start. Software issues. But I think we're up and running now. So, Christian Bradley for the Game Institute back in your living room again for another round of Learn to Create Art. It's been very exciting on this side for software. I guess it didn't affect the streaming. We did that Max review yesterday, but I haven't been able to get any of my Adobe products working. I had a license issue. I needed to renew my license and or my Adobe pack of software from Adobe Cloud, and it was not working for a few days. And of course, it died on Friday afternoon when everything's closed. Any of the chat people were long gone and phone numbers were not working. And I didn't really get it resolved until this morning by the time I could reinstall everything. So we just got Photoshop back up and running. And if there are any big differences between this version and the one I was using, I may run into them here in streaming, but I don't think we'll run into much. So we are going to be talking about character design for this. And while I'm talking, I'm going to open up some stuff. You know what? Does anybody know? You can tell me there in the chat. Is there a way, either with Adobe stuff or Autodesk stuff, or both, when you have two monitors, can you get the menus and the windows to just stick on one monitor or another? With streaming, it's been an issue. I know that you usually don't want that when you have two monitors. You want stuff to just kind of go between the two monitors, but with streaming, I need everything over here on the second monitor, and the menus are always popping up all over the place. So I don't know if that's a thing that anybody's run into. Okay, so we're going to be talking about creature design once I get everything out of the way here. It is 17. We're going to see if Camtasia works here too. That was another one that needed renewed that was dying on me. Something happened when I switched over to Windows 10 with my updating my software. I guess it's solved now, but didn't have Camtasia over the weekend, and I didn't have Adobe stuff over the weekend, so it was all 3D this weekend. Okay. So we're talking about creature design, and this will be a two-part thing. The trick with creature design, well, if there is a trick, besides being able to draw, is you want something that seems familiar to the player. And creatures are a good place to kind of target this. This is true with everything, whether it's character design, prop design, environmental design, structural design. But with creatures, it's easy because we're making the creatures up to start with. So you want it to be familiar to the player, and you want the creature to look as though it can do something blank at that point. So if it's a dragon, obviously if it's going to fly, it's going to have wings. If it's a big mean dragon, it's going to be bulky and stocky and, you know, look like a mean dragon. But it gets a little bit more complex than that. So let's say you're building a creature that tunnels or burrows in the ground. Well, you can, but you probably don't want something that looks like a mountain lion that pops out of the ground in your game. Even though that might be a cool idea, it might even fit into your storyline, it doesn't really fit what something would look like if it would burrow. So usually what we do is we go and find reference of those things like moles or voles or I don't know, weasels or whatever it is, badgers, wolverines that burrow. And then we start to kind of take parts off of those animals and apply it to our design. Now, that's not to mean that you just kind of mix and match. It's not like, Garanimals where you just match up the different animals. You want to be creative, but it still needs to look as though that creature does what you're saying he does in the game. If it's going to be, say, a songbird, then it's not going to be this really mean, horrible looking bird like some prehistoric bird. It's probably going to be dainty. Now, a lot of this is kind of stereotype, if you want to call it profiling our creatures, that's fine. But the player they come to the game with ideas of what these creatures should really look like. Now, you don't need to say because it's a songbird it has to look like a canary. It could be a prehistoric songbird. It can be all sorts of different songbirds, but it's probably going to have the attributes of what we associate with, say, a songbird. So what I'm going to do is just kind of start playing around here and sketching a little bit, and I'll come up with some sketches. Be right back. So here at the class, I'm going to start drawing. A few things, actually. A few things I didn't check. Is my Wacom tablet working? That's one of the things. Let's see here. Okay. So my Wacom tablet's always working. That's always up in the air. My Wacom tablet issues got resolved when I switched over to Windows 10, but I never did figure out what the problem was. Never did. I have no idea what the issue was. So what I'm doing is finding a brush that will serve me well here. This one probably is a good one. I tend to use a brush that's a little bit like a rough brush. So if I was to make this brush bigger, you could see that brush is kind of like a chalk brush. No real great reason other than I'm just more comfortable with that look, but I think it helps your drawings if you stay away from the round perfect brushes, these guys. I don't know if there's a good artistic reason for that. It's just, I think this kind of builds in a little bit of error, so it's more comfortable. I'm getting... Oh, Dale just pinged me my get Photoshop to open on a second monitor information. Thank you, Dale. All right, so I'm just going to kind of sketch out some creatures really quickly here, and just to kind of show you how I tend to go about this process. I tend to just build in the big shapes first. And then kind of go from there. So something kind of like this little rhino shape. He's a little bit squished there. So let's... And I do side views usually first. and try to capture at least a little bit of the movement of the creature. So say this is like a boar, something like that. You can go back in and just with white and kind of outline certain areas. I usually try to get some details in here. And usually start outlining a few structures. You can see that I need to the button on a Wacom tablet right where I put my finger, and I need to get rid of that that circle thing. Man, that is annoying. I didn't realize it was doing that. Otherwise, I would have. So something like that. Let's do another little critter here. Let's do something a little more lizardy. You can see how I kind of draw it in components. So when I'm drawing these, I usually draw them in components. So like, think of like models, how they would be put together. So this is going to be kind of a lizard character. And they can be really blocky. Remember, usually, unless you're doing videos like this, nobody's ever going to see these. So that should put your mind at ease a little bit about trying to make these beautiful pieces of art. They really don't need to be. They're just meant to give you some ideas. And the looser you make these, like this guy, the better off you're probably going to be. Because it'll give you some creative feel for what you're building. You know, you don't have to be exact. You're not trying to draw a certain thing at this point. You're just drawing ideas. And like I said, I usually then kind of go back in and outline the important areas. What is going on with that silly little... Do I have a button down or something? I'm getting this... my brush keeps popping up. Let me see if I can fix that. My brush settings keep popping up whenever I... What is that? Let me go over here to preferences. That's annoying. What would it be under? Cursors, maybe? No, not there. Does that do it? Is that my let me see if I can solve this issue. I don't know what that is. It's either something with my Wacom settings or something with Photoshop. Now, here it is. It's the brush pop-up menu. What is this? Adobe's Creative Cloud just takes over your computer. Can't get away from it. There we go. Okay, so it's edit, preferences, interface. No, it's not. It is a thing. Alright, let me check this. I gotta get into my hardware settings here real quick, because that's annoying. Well, I could figure it out for Windows 7. I just don't know how to find my hardware settings. Live TV again here. this is a pain. I have to change my pen settings, and in Windows 10 I have no idea where that is. Because this is impossible to draw with this silly thing. Well, yeah, I found a fix, but it's going to take too long here. I got to get into my pen settings in Windows 10 and disable some stuff for Wacom. You know, because, well, that's just makes perfect sense. So, I guess what we'll do is keep going with this, but I'll need to redo the video for it, because see, it's like, oh yeah, hey, would you like this menu again, because you look like you need to change a brush every 3 seconds. So I'll get in there and tweak that. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just draw out some stuff to show you how this would work. Stop with that. Stop! Stop! Oh my god. Make it stop. Windows, why you do this to me? Why you make life hard? Alright, we can't draw, and without drawing we can't do creature design, so I guess let me go ahead and figure out my settings. And we will this is not getting me what I want either. Here's what I want. Okay, where do I find this? So it's under pen and touch. Pen and touch. There we go. Got it. Oh, awesome. Okay. So it's not available because I don't have a Cintiq. Well, this may be a short one today. I am not able to draw, and if I can't draw, I can't do much of anything. Let me give this one more try here. Where is this? Okay. So it's supposed to be under control panel. What is it? Hardware and sound. Change tablet. There's a pen and touch. Well, I think today is going to be a wash. I think what I'll do is just start this over because without my pen working, I can't do this with the mouse. And my pen, something's going on here with the, it's either Windows or Wacom, and it looks like there's a fix, but this is going to take too long for me to figure out online. So I think what we're going to do is shut down today. We've got a part 2 of this coming up, and we'll just make that part 1, and we shall try again. So sorry for that, but not much I can do about it. And I've got the site, Dale, that you sent me. I've got another site here also that looks like a fix, but I can't find some of the parts they're asking me to do. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to go fix my Wacom tablet, and we'll try this again another day.